Around 80 million Nigerians rely on generators to power their homes and businesses, spending $14 billion annually on fueling and other power needs. Now, this is a huge problem because the government said it has spent over 11 trillion naira on power between 1999 and 2015. So where did all that money go? Come with me, I'll show you. In this investigation into the power sector, I went into the transmission company of Nigeria to find answers, but I was sent away. I met with business people who complained bitterly about the epileptic power situation of the country. And after listening to all their complaints, I went to work to start digging, and what I found was super interesting. This is Nigerian power sector declassified. Let's unravel how 3 administrations squandered 11 trillion naira of taxpayer money on frivolous contracts, fraudulent projects, and many more. Where did all that investment go? $20 billion, and we don't have light. So we're making this video on the power sector, and wait, am I supposed to be looking at myself or at the lens? I have a lot of questions, and hopefully I get some answers for you. So come with me. Why can't you go in?
Take you do selfie, take.
Hey, I want to see what they did with our money. Ow! You know I love her. Okay, thank you, sir.
Those never people they mad.
This is one perk that comes with staying in Nigeria. According to a study published in 2022, 40% of Nigerian households use generators. These people collectively spend about $14 billion annually to fuel their generators.
Buy black market for around 3,000. Now 3,000, 10 liters for around 3,000 before the removal of subsidy. But now that the subsidy, 3,000 can no longer buy you 10 liters. If we have to turn on the gen for the whole day, we spend about 10,000 for fuel.
So apparently the Nigerian government said it has invested about $20 billion. That is over the last decade in the power sector alone. So I wanted to know why Nigerians are still living like this.
The thing not easy for us.
No easy
like bread where they say if I carry load from here to here, they'll collect me 200. Maybe the gain of bread, maybe now want to going and coming, I will pay 400 and I go still buy later. I know they are easy.
I'm going to this filling station. I just found queue in the filling station around my area, so I want to check and see why there is a lot of queue there, because the 𝗪𝗵𝗲 said that there is enough fuel to go around. So I don't know why people are still queuing up here. Let's go find out. So I wonder why people are rushing to this place. Hey, don't buy my jet. The owners, or should I say the managers of Shafa filling station, they actually don't want me to video their filling station because they don't want to have any problem with the Nigerian government or 𝗪𝗵𝗲 that any information I release from them may affect their jobs. So I don't know why they have problem with me capturing the queue they have in their filling station. According to the World Bank, only about 45% of Nigerians have access to grid electricity, and those who do face an average of 32 hours of power outages per month. The easy way of explaining the problem here is the same old cliche, which is corruption. But after going through these dozens of documents right here, these are reports from the National Assembly investigations and talking to stakeholders in the industry, I think there's something more fishy going on here.
It's not something I can verify, but it's a rumor I've heard that people in power who manufacture and import generators from other parts of the world are in bed with the power sector of the country to make sure that power does not work so their business can move. And there's some element of truth in that because the people that manufacture these generators are companies in the West, but they don't use generators in the West.
That's true. That's true. And they don't have any of their plants here.
They don't have any of their plants here. So where are they manufacturing the generators from? Here. This is the market.
Now, I don't want to believe there are public officials behind the sabotage of the government's effort to get stable electricity. But what if this line of thought is true? Let me present my evidence and you will be the judge of that.
Sums of money projected and supposedly spent in dollars versus its inability to deliver or otherwise.
You see, the Nigerian power sector is the industry that generates, transmits, and distributes electricity to consumers in Nigeria. It also seems to be the most popular, with its large population of about 200 million people. Nigeria has a huge potential for industrialization and diversification. However, the power sector has been unable to meet the growing demand for electricity, resulting in frequent blackouts, low access, and high cost. Before I show you what I found in my weeks of looking into this topic, let me explain to you how the Nigerian power sector works. So now let us talk about the structure of the Nigerian power sector. We have the generation, the transmission, distribution, and the supply. Let's put this first right up here. I think we are done with these guys here, so I'm going to get rid of some of this and put it here. And we have generation, transmission, and distribution. This is the GENCOs, right? This represents the generation company of Nigeria. Here, this is GENCOs, and then this here represents, from the GENCO it moves to the transmission, right? So we have this here, which is the transmission company of Nigeria, and this is distribution. So this is the one that supplies to your house. You can call this supply. Do I have any spare? We have supply. So this is the structure of the Nigerian power sector. Simply put, there are certain companies responsible for generating electricity in Nigeria. No, it is not NEPA. These companies right here are called GENCOs, like the power generating companies. Their job is to generate power from various sources such as hydro, coal, solar, and gas. Now, after this electricity is generated here at the GENCO level, there are other companies that are responsible, or should I say a company that is responsible for sending this electricity from this point to the discos, and that is the TCN, the transmission company of Nigeria. This is the transmission company of Nigeria. So I'm very cold right now, and obviously they just told me that I'm not allowed to make videos here, so I'm going back to my car and so I can drive away. As I came in, we're not allowed to make videos here. My phone is so wet right now. Say what?
It was at this moment he knew. He fucked up.
I hope the phone works after this video. Thank you guys, bye. If it doesn't work out, you're going to buy me a new phone, and see you. It's not working. Now, this TCN is tasked with maintaining the national grid. And then we have the distribution segment of the entire process, which comprises of companies referred to as discos. They are responsible for the distribution of the power being generated by the GENCOs, that is the generating companies. These companies are responsible for selling this electricity to end users within their franchise area. If you are in Abuja, this is the company responsible for your electricity. It is called AEDC, that is Abuja Electricity Distribution Company. Until recently, power generation in Nigeria was mainly controlled by the federal government through the Ministry of Power and the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC. The federal government owns and operates 6 power generation companies, that is the GENCOs we talked about, that are connected to the national grid. The federal government also owns and operates the Niger Delta Power Holding Company, which is responsible for implementing the National Integrated Power Project that aims to build and operate new power plants across the country. Now, keep this name in mind because it is going to be relevant to our story much later. In addition to the federal government-owned GENCOs, there are also independent power producers known as IPPs that generate electricity for their own use or sell to the national grid or other customers. But with all of these power plants and investment in the power sector, Nigerians are still suffering blackouts. So where did all that investment go? Right? Where did all that investment go? $20 billion, and we don't have light. This next section explains why. Okay, let's do something for fun here. Here with me are 3 documents that I obtained from my research into this topic. They are on the National Integrated Power Project, that is the NIPP I talked about. This first one here shows a contract was awarded for 𝗳𝘃𝘂𝗧𝗂𝗪 overhead transmission line substations. The contractor was North China Power Engineering Co./Chemo Technics, and the consultant for this very contract is 𝗁𝗂𝘃𝗶 Engineering Limited from Switzerland. So apparently, this contractor was given 4 billion naira with an additional 58.8 million euros in contract sum. The projected date for contract completion was March 31st, according to this document I have here. Yet, the contractor did nothing. After investigations, the recommendation given was for the contract to be reviewed and terminated. The investigators also recommended the ICPC and the EFCC to investigate and prosecute the contractor, NIPP officials involved, and the consultant, because according to them, no work was ongoing on the site. Another company, Chrome Consortium Energy, who happens to have the same consultant as the first company, was given 3 billion naira with an additional 38 million euros in contract sum to work on the New Haven Alede Makurdi overhead transmission lines and substation project. All of these are in Benue State of Nigeria. This company only did 10% of the job and abandoned the project. They were also recommended for prosecution alongside the NIPP officials involved. Other contractors involved in the power sector fraud and recommended for prosecution include Enago Nigeria Limited, a very interesting name I found when I went into the Transmission Company of Nigeria to have a talk with them, but obviously I was sent away. You are not allowed to film there. And there's 𝗪𝗵𝗲𝗿𝗂, Catlac International, Hokwado Nigeria Limited, Roxon Engineering, News Engineering / 𝗪𝗂𝘂𝗧𝘂𝗏 International. All these names are from only this first document, and there are dozens more of these contractors. Between 1999 and 2014, under the administrations of former presidents Olusegun Obasanjo and Goodluck Jonathan, a whopping $16 billion was reportedly spent on power projects. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo initiated the National Integrated Power Project in 2005, which aimed to build 10 gas-fired power plants across the country. The project was estimated to cost $8.5 billion and was funded by the Excess Crude Account (ECA), a savings account for oil revenues. However, the NIPP faced several challenges such as delays, cost overruns, contractual disputes, and poor quality of work. According to a report by the House of Representatives Committee on Power in 2008, only $3.7 billion of the $8.5 billion allocated for the NIPP was disbursed, and none of the power plants was completed or functional. The report also accused Obasanjo and some of his ministers and officials of inflating contracts, violating due process, and diverting funds meant for the power sector. Boy, you know the former president was cleared of all corruption allegations, so I guess that is a dead end. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, another former president, inherited the NIPP from Obasanjo and continued to fund it from the Excess Crude Account. He also launched the Power Sector Reform Roadmap in 2010, which aimed to privatize the generation and distribution companies, that is the GENCOs and DISCOs, and to create a competitive electricity market. However, Jonathan's administration also failed to deliver on his promises of improved power supply. According to a report by the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project (SERAP) in 2017, over 11 trillion naira was squandered by the 3 administrations on electricity between 1999 and 2015. The report also alleged that Jonathan's administration awarded fraudulent and ghost contracts, paid huge sums of money for non-existent projects, and failed to account for the funds spent on the power sector. Some of the corrupt practices alleged in this report include dubious contracts, inflated costs, ghost projects, kickbacks, and embezzlement. So when you see things like this in the marketplace, know that these folks are among millions of Nigerians spending an estimated $14 billion to purchase generators to solve their industrial, commercial, and domestic problems caused by these leaders. Findings by the ICIR revealed that between 2011 and 2018, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation had released a capital sum of 1.1 trillion naira for power projects in the country. However, many of these projects were either abandoned, poorly executed, or overpriced by contractors. Now, while it is established that about 85 million people living in Nigeria lack access to grid electricity, this is, however, not due to corruption alone. Many people I talked to when researching this video confessed how they bypassed the prepaid meter system used for electricity tariffs. So, a lot of Nigerians actually do not pay electricity bills, and that is a big challenge, because if you're not paying for what you're consuming, where do you expect the government to get the money to fix all of these problems we're talking about? These challenges have hampered the development of the power sector and continues to prevent Nigeria from achieving its potential of generating over 40,000 megawatts of electricity. Well, to the credit of the government, efforts were made to reduce the number of people without access to electricity. So, my question is, what happened? Where do I begin? The Rural Electrification Agency, REA, is a federal government agency established in 2006 to implement rural electrification projects and programs in Nigeria. The REA is supervised by the Ministry of Power and regulated by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. The REA has been accused of various cases of contract fraud, corruption, mismanagement, and abuse of office by different sources, such as civil society groups and whistleblowers. One of the most recent allegations is that a certain managing director and chief executive officer of the REA awarded his own company, EN Consulting and Projects Limited, a 200 million naira consultancy service contract. 𝗪𝗵𝗲𝗿𝗂 is the managing director and chief executive officer of the Rural Electrification Agency. 𝗪𝗵𝗲 is one of the directors of EN Consulting and Projects Limited, along with two other persons. This is according to the CAC records. EN Consulting and Projects Limited successfully bid for a consultancy service contract worth 200 million naira under the Nigerian Electrification Project, NEP, an initiative of the REA funded by the World Bank and the African Development Bank. The contract was a clear case of conflict of interest, if I may say, abuse of office, and violation of the code of conduct for public officers, as 𝗪𝗵𝗲 used his position as the head of the REA to influence and benefit from a contract awarded by his own agency to his own company. So, the contract saga was exposed by a media report by Sahara reporters based on documents obtained from anonymous sources within the REA. The report also alleged that 𝗪𝗵𝗲 and Jude have been using their influence and connections to evade investigation and prosecution by any anti-graft agency or judicial body. The allegation has, however, been denied by 𝗪𝗵𝗲 and Jude, who describe it as a malicious and baseless attempt to tarnish their reputation and undermine their achievements within the REA. Now, I'm going to put a call through to this number I found on their website. Let's see if they'll pick and agree to talk to me, because these are serious allegations and we need to hear from them.
Thank you for calling Rural Electrification Agency of Nigeria. If you have the extension of the office you want to reach, please dial it now or dial 056. Thank you.
What just happened? But what efforts are the government making to solve the Nigerian power crisis? Privatization of the Nigerian power sector began in 2005 with the enactment of the Electric Power Sector Reform Act. This law unbundled the state-owned monopoly, that is the National Electricity Power Authority, that we know as NEPA, into 18 successor companies, 6 generation companies, that is GENCOs, 11 distribution companies, DISCOs, and 1 transmission company, this Transmission Company of Nigeria. The privatization was expected to increase the generation capacity from about 4,000 megawatts in 2013 to 20,000 megawatts by 2020, and to attract more private investments and reduce government subsidies and debt in the sector. However, a privatization has faced several challenges and criticism, as is always known in Nigeria. Some of them include flawed bidding process. Some of the bidders were allegedly favored or disqualified based on political or personal interest rather than technical or financial competence. Some of the bidders also made unrealistic or erroneous assumptions about the sector's performance and potential. We have some case studies that I want to show you. The first one is the sale of Enugu Electricity Distribution Company to Interstate Electrics Limited. This sale was part of the privatization process of the Nigerian power sector that was completed in 2013. Interstate Electrics Limited emerged as the preferred bidder for Enugu Electricity Distribution Company, EEDC, after offering $126.24 million for 60% equity stake in the distribution company. However, the sale was allegedly influenced by former Senate President Senator Ken Nnamani, who was a major shareholder of Interstate Electrics Limited and a political ally of former President Goodluck Jonathan. Interstate Electrics Limited was accused of lacking the technical and financial competence to manage EEDC, as it had no prior experience in the power sector and had borrowed heavily from banks to finance the acquisition. Well, Interstate Electrics Limited was also accused of violating the terms of the agreement by failing to pay the balance of its bid price within the stipulated time frame, which led to a legal dispute with the Bureau of Public Enterprises. The sale was criticized by some stakeholders in the power sector, such as the Nigerian Electricity Consumers Advocacy Network, which claimed that Interstate Electrics Limited had not improved the quality and reliability of power supply in EEDC's franchise area. This group also alleged that Interstate Electrics Limited had increased electricity tariffs arbitrarily and engaged in fraudulent billing practices. And then the second case study is the sale of Yola Electricity Distribution Company to Integrated Energy Distribution and Marketing Limited. This sale was allegedly influenced by former governor of Lagos State and current president of Nigeria, Bela Tinubu, who was a major shareholder of the company. The company was accused of lacking the technical and financial competence to manage the distribution company and of violating the terms of the agreement by failing to pay the balance of its bid price. The company also returned the DISCO to the government in 2015, citing force majeure due to insecurity in the region. Yola Electricity Distribution Company is one of the 11 downstream operators in the Nigerian electricity market, responsible for retail distribution and marketing of electricity in Adamawa, Borno, Taraba, and Yobe states. Integrated Energy Distribution and Marketing Limited is a consortium of investors that won the bid to acquire 60% stake in YEDC in 2013 for $146 million. But the former governor of Lagos State and present president of Nigeria, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, or should I now say Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu or Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but you know, the commander-in-chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Well, he was alleged to be a major shareholder of Integrated Energy Distribution and Marketing Limited and to have influenced the sale of the YEDC to the consortium. But he denied the allegations and said he had no interest in any power company. So I guess that is a dead end as well. The company was accused of lacking the technical and financial competence to manage the DISCO and of violating the terms of the agreement by failing to pay the balance of its bid price. The Bureau of Public Enterprise threatened to revoke its license if it did not pay up by December 2014. In July 2021, Quest Electricity Nigeria Limited acquired 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 with a bid price of 19 billion naira, that is $46 million, and committed to invest 28 billion naira, that is $68 million, over a period of 2 years. Some other challenges that the Nigerian power sector has been battling with include low electricity pricing. The tariff regime adopted by the regulatory body was not cost reflective or market based, but rather based on social and political considerations. This made it difficult for the generating companies and distribution companies to recover their cost and repay their debts. And then there is the gas supply shortage. The majority of the generating companies depend on gas-fired power plants, which are vulnerable to gas supply disruptions and price fluctuations due to vandalism, sabotage, militancy, and contractual disputes, as is always evident in Nigeria. This has resulted in frequent power outages as these companies are unable to generate power at the named capacity. In 2021, a report by the Cable revealed that within the first 7 days of March, the power sector lost about 6.8 billion naira to challenges related to insufficient gas supply to electricity generation companies, GENCOs, and other constraints. But this is not a new thing in the sector. In 2020, the sector lost 1.7 billion naira in just 1 day over these constraints, and the losses keep mounting daily. Out of the 28 electricity generation companies, only 3 are hydro, which is the Shiroro, the Kainji, and the Jeba, while others are gas-fired plants. Inevitably, 25 need a constant supply of gas to produce electricity. Poor power supply in Nigeria has consequences. In fact, it has affected every industry in the country's economy. Poor power supply has been estimated to cost Nigeria about 5% of its gross domestic product, that is GDP, annually. It also affects the productivity and competitiveness of businesses, especially small and medium enterprises. Nigeria needs to promote decentralization and off-grid solutions for power supply by empowering states and local governments to generate and transmit as well as distribute their own electricity within their jurisdictions. In March 2023, former President Muhammadu Buhari signed into law a constitutional amendment that allows state governments in Nigeria to license, generate, transmit, and distribute electricity in areas covered by the national grid. The amendment was aimed at addressing the challenges of power supply in Nigeria. So, will these reforms work? I guess we need to give it time. Okay, I need to get back to my studio. Catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching this one. As you can see, this video took us a long time to make, and I really appreciate my patrons and channel members and all of you that take time to watch and share my content with your friends and family. I deeply appreciate you all, and continue to show the support. Share this video with your friends and let me know what you think in the comment section below. What do you think is the solution to the current power challenge we have in Nigeria, especially with the increase or the removal of fuel subsidy and the consequent increase in fuel prices? We sure need more stable electricity if we are going to survive these times. Thank you for watching. I'll be reading all of your comments in the comment section below. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.